Hi, my name is Ibuka. I'm a plant icon based here in Nigeria, and it is currently the rainy season in my country. Which means two things. One, and most importantly, I can film outdoors without being unalived by the Nigerian heat and sun. And secondly, because of all the nutrient-rich rainfall, my plants absolutely look their best. So why don't we show you guys off and let's film a garden tour. I'm always confused about where to start from with this tour. I think we're gonna have to start with this unmistakable mama, this gorgeous auntie, this iconic specimen, none other than my ficus burgundy. I am extremely proud of this plant because I grew her from when she was just this size. Now look at how she has become, guys. I am 6 feet tall, and this plant is actually taller than me. I mean, just take a closer look at the material. Just, oh my goodness, what a beautiful sight to behold. She's perfect, she's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment. But unfortunately, and it breaks my heart to say this, but I'm gonna have to give her the chop because she's infringing on my neighbor's door, and she's also becoming quite top heavy. Fortunately, I have already propagated her and her propagation was successful. I'm gonna have to chop her, but in the meantime, let's just appreciate her beauty for what it is. I mean, look, she's even branching on her own. Like, oh, I love these plants. Okay, now moving on from that, down below her, I have like a little contraption here. So for my plants in bigger pots to optimize space, I tend to put like plants in smaller pots on top of them, which is what I did here. And oh God, here's another one I'm also really proud of. And one of my personal faves. You're gonna hear that term a lot. One of my personal faves. I'm not sure what Anthurium this is. I believe this is an Anthurium silver blush. But regardless, she is gorgeous. She has filled her pot to the brim. I want her to even get fuller and fuller. And now that it's the rainy season, she's just going to explode with growth. Anthuriums absolutely love like rain, and they have like growth spots in my experience during this rainy season. So, and you can see she's got some new growth coming out here. Yeah, one of my personal favorites. And then in this pot, I have got this my scindapsus trubia moonlight. Guys, this is a plant that grows painfully slowly. This is literally 4 years worth of growth. And if you're going to get this plant, I would strongly advise you get one that is full because she likes to take her precious time. But now that she has matured a bit, her growth has actually accelerated a lot more. You can see all the new growth poking out from most of her vines. So yeah, this crisping leaf is as a result of underwatering, so please do not underwater these guys. They are drought tolerant, but they will crisp when you underwater them. So I can't wait until she's a fuller and beautiful specimen. She looks a bit rugged, but she's still gorgeous in my opinion. And then this plant at the back, you guys are gonna be shocked when you find out what this plant is, guys. It's obviously calathea, but guess what calathea this is? You're gonna be shocked. It is a calathea white fusion.
What?
Yes, it's a calathea white fusion. So for us growing this plant in Nigeria, it always has the tendency to revert to green. I think because of the highlight exposure outdoors, you can see some of the leaves to retain that previous white variegation, and also the new leaf is coming out to be a bit highly variegated. Now that it's the rainy season and the weather has become cloudier, I feel like her variegation is beginning to revert back to its initial white, variegated glory. But let's keep our fingers crossed Regardless, I'm even surprised that this Calithea is alive because, according to you all on the internet, she's probably like the most finicky and the most difficult one. Also, we had an extremely hot year this year. We had an unprecedented heat wave. I lost a lot of my Calitheas as a result, so I'm actually surprised that she made it. In my opinion, she's very resilient. Anyways, now that it's the rainy season, I have a feeling she's just going to double in size. All my calatheas just go crazy during the rainy season, so I'm here for it. But here, she's a survivor. Guys, please let's take a moment to appreciate this pathway that I have carved out with my plants. Like, oh my goodness gracious, imagine coming back home after a stressful day and you get to walk through this path like I do every single day. And this is where my aglaonemas come in. I absolutely love aglaonemas. I have a whole aglaonema tour, so please go check that out after this video, where I talk about each single one and their growth profile, their characteristics. For me, my garden has to be colorful, and these guys add such an easy pop of color. They are low maintenance, they stay compact, they stay mostly small, which makes it really a great option for renters like me or people in limited spaces. Love it. Look at how they have just, elevated this otherwise algae filled concrete floor. Oh, look at the material, guys. Oh, Lord. Yeah, please let's move on to other things. If not, I will focus entirely on these girls. I love them so much. Now let's move on to this big mama here, which is my Monstera deliciosa large form. There's a difference between the Monstera deliciosa large form and the regular one. So this one is a spreading Monstera and it doesn't need a pole. It also has double fenestrations. As you can see, one fenestration is here and there's an outer fenestration. The downside is that it tends to grow slowly. Yeah, it's taking her precious time to form that leaf. Anyways, in her pot, I have placed some cover plants. This is an especia. The whole idea is that one of them at least will cover up this pot and hopefully trail down. This was a very full and beautiful specimen, but unfortunately, I lost a huge chunk of her during the intense heat wave we had this dry season. Here's another type. This is a Tenante boiler max that was also almost destroyed by the Nigerian sun. And hopefully they all recover now that it's the rainy season. Now let's move on to this mystery plant that I cannot ID, and I want you guys to help me ID. Look at what grasshoppers have done to this guy. Grasshoppers are honestly my biggest menace. They're my biggest pest in this garden, and I'm doing everything I can to get rid of them. But let me bring out this one so you guys have a better look, and then you can potentially help me ID it. Here she is. I think she's some form of cystis, guys. I think low-key, this might even be cystis mirabilis. The grower claimed that she actually got this one from the forest here in Nigeria. And you can see how it is. I think it's bringing out these runners because I feel like it wants to crawl on the ground. She's really easy. She doesn't like intense sun or heat, likes deep shade, and she likes to be watered a lot. And she's quite root bound. She has very chunky roots. So please let me know what this plant is. Help me ID it if you can. And yeah, let's proceed with the rest of the tour. Underneath this Monstera deliciosa, we still have some plants, especially plants that do not like intense light exposure or heat. And this Calathea is one such example. Calathea vitata. Honestly, she's extremely light sensitive. So I've pretty much just dumped her here because her leaves will call at the slightest light exposure and she seems to be fine there. And then right next, underneath this huge Monstera deliciosa leaf, I have got my aglaonema. This is another one that honestly prefers this canopy situation. And some aglaonemas, like I said in my aglaonema video, will have intense and deeper variegation when kept in deep shade, and she seems to be one such example. Yeah, down a little, I've got my variegated palm, variegated lady palm to be specific. Absolutely gorgeous. Loves this. Just look at this. And right next to her is another aglaonema. You can just see how aglaonemas have just added a pop of color to this display. We have some aglaonemas here. Look at just how beautiful they are when they are displayed and paired together. And I've got also my rattlesnake calathea here that was almost destroyed by the Nigerian sun in the dry season. Look at all the sunburn, but she will make a recovery now that we are in the rainy season. And let's take some moments to appreciate more of these aglaonemas. Just look at how they just add such a pop of color, guys. And then moving on to this corner here, this is one of my easiest calatheas. Oh my goodness, I cannot speak highly enough of this babe, and I strongly recommend her to everyone who wants to get into calatheas but is afraid to do so. This one is more hardy, tends to be more forgiving of underwatering, and just a babe and more. And she is going crazy now that we are in the rainy season. Look at all the new growth, so much new growth. Oh my goodness. So she's gonna fill up this pot and she adds an interesting look at this. Look at the pop of color. And then of course we cannot have a tour without featuring this mama. This is my oh my goodness, just look at this new leaf. Some of you, she needs the introduction, guys. Some of you already know her. This is my Monstera albo. Now, this is the climbing variant of the Monstera. I told you that this is the one that spreads. This is the cyst that climbs, and as you can see, I've given her a pole. So this is the Monstera albo Gianna, if I'm not mistaken, based on her climbing feature and also the shape of her leaves. Who cares? As long as she's healthy, she's happy, I absolutely do not mind. Love this babe. I almost entirely lost this plant to trips and I had to grow her back from literally one leaf. So I'm glad she made a comeback because she is not cheap in this country. It feels like her price continues to increase every 5 working days. Now, underneath her is a plant that, in my opinion, is one of the most difficult plants I have grown. This Goldiana, Dracena, and ironically, cis is supposed to be native to Nigeria. So why are you giving me a hard time being grown in your own native country? Why? I'm still trying to figure out what she wants, and I've just kept her here in hopes that the low light situation and the extra humidity from all these plants will make her happy. But fingers crossed. Now we have another beautiful aglaonema here. Look at the intense pink variegation. Look at the pop of color it adds. Oh my goodness gracious. This is an aglaonema cochin or cocking. Absolutely love her. Like I said, some of these aglaonemas, when kept in deep shade or canopy situations like this, their colors will absolutely just pop off. Before we move on to this fifth, let's not forget this. This is another calathea that is so easy. Let me bring her out so we can have a better look and a better appreciation. Not all calatheas are drama queens. Some like this babe are super easy, super rewarding, and can actually tolerate some neglect to a certain extent. Look at all the new leaves coming out. Now that it's the rainy season, I'm so excited for the future of all my calatheas. They just explode with so much growth during this period. Now moving on to this, the star. The star of the show, if you ask me, my Monstera Thai constellation. Oh my goodness, guys. She looks beautiful. She looks iconic. What's not to love about her? I absolutely love this plant. Sometimes I just come out and I just stare at her all day. So this is also a large form Monstera. As you can see, she doesn't need a pole. She doesn't have a pole. She's actually, like I said, these large form guys are crawlers. You can see the crawling habits going on there. By the way, these are some species Anthurium crystalline that I added here, just to decorate the pot. Look, and I love that she's bringing out some very, very yummy area root. If I wanted to propagate her, which I will be doing soon, makes it like 10 times easier. So, absolutely love this babe. She's underneath the shade net, but even underneath the shade net, she's still got some scorching from the heat we had this year. But thankfully, she was spared for the most part. And each time she brings out a new leaf, I'm always so excited. Like, I literally do a celebration. Always so excited. But moving on to the other girlies. Now, underneath her, I have this caladium that I'm still trying to figure out how to keep this plant alive. I've talked about it in my previous videos. I'm not really the best with caladiums, but This is a gorgeous one. I'm trying to figure out how to prevent her from losing more leaves like she seems to love to do. Oh, now moving on to this young lady here. This is Dinanthi. Um, Dinanthi lobis. Yeah, I can't pronounce the full name. I always recommend this plant to people who calatheas have scarred. This is an easy alternative to calathea. She's not a calathea, but she's in the calathea family. Get into her. The only downside is that when she's not giving enough light, she will quickly revert back to green and lose her variegation. So give her highlight and water when dry. She's an easy babe, can also take neglect and is also a fast grower. What's not to love? Then over here I have my Schefflera. I love this particular variant because of the beautiful variegation. You notice that in my garden, it's very eclectic. There's a mix of aeroids, there's a mix of non-aeroids, there's a mix of rare and expensive plants, there's a mix of cheap plants. Like, I don't really look at how rare or how exotic or how expensive. I just go with what I love and how it fits into like the display I'm trying to achieve in my garden. She might not be a fancy aroid, but I really love her. She's gorgeous and I just love this plant. Now you will look here. I almost forgot about this babe, but this is my Calathea obifolia. Oh my goodness, this plant has given me a hard time, but she's also been through a lot and she has proved to be a survivor. I'm surprised that this plant has lasted a year. I mean, it's there's nothing, it doesn't look like a plant that is a year old, but if you've ever had this calathea before, you know it's a feat that I've actually kept her alive for a year. So let's just continue to leave her where she is there. And then this is my one of the plants I'm really proud of showing. This is my ficus Audrey. I grew this plant from when it was just like maybe this little guy, and now she's grown so big. She's grown so big. One thing about ficuses is that they people don't know this, but they produce area roots. They also produce area roots that they use to latch onto I guess other trees because some of these ficuses are epiphytic in nature as they mature. And she's just doing her thing, unproblematic, iconic, amazing. No problems whatsoever. Absolutely love her, and I'm looking forward to experiencing more growth from her. I love this ficus because it naturally branches out, unlike other ficuses, like your rubber plant will branch out as it matures, but this one branches out very readily as well. Now, in her pot, I have this weed. Now, this weed may seem like your ordinary weed, but it's apparently not. It's a native wildflower to us here in Nigeria, and it has a lot of medicinal attributes. A lot of medicinal attributes. So I just allow it grow. This is an especia. This is the mother plant for most of the other especias that you've seen, being tossed around in my garden. And again, rainy season, I can't wait till it just fills up this pot and then they bloom beautifully. It's always a beautiful sight to behold. So guys, we've pretty much gone through all the plants here. Now let's tackle some of the plants in the barricade. If you've watched the previous tour that I did during the dry season, a lot of the plants out here were actually inside here because out here was just too hot. But now that it's the rainy season, I've started bringing them out more. And I even prefer it that way because I can have a better appreciation of them. Unfortunately, these bars, although they provide security, we're very big on security in Nigeria. We have like literally high fences. We don't play when it comes to security. So this is a security barricade, which I'm grateful for, but it does limit you from really viewing the plants. But thankfully, we don't have lots of plants to view here. I'm just going to skim through some highlights. Obviously, have to mention this Hoya. I believe it's a Hoya australis. I'm not too good with Hoyas or even caring for them, but this one seems to be behaving. So I appreciate her for that. Most of my Hoyas always look a hot mess. And I love that she's climbing up this. She's climbing. Can you see those tendrils or whatever they are called? Just climbing and wrapping itself around the bars. And I'm going to let her be because I just feel it's going to be a beautiful sight if she just traces all around. It's going to be such a beautiful sight to behold. I cannot wait. And of course, I have to show you guys this plant up close and personal because she's one of my rare ones. Just hang on. Guys, just look at this babe. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Look at her. This is an Anthurium, variegated Anthurium hookery, I believe. Well, at least that's what the grower claims it to be. And the awesome thing about this Anthurium is that it has the potential to get even bigger. The only reason why it's not as big is because I've had her contained in this pot. But if I wanted her to be big, I just have to give her a bigger pot. Just imagine how glorious these leaves will be when they are so big. She's already root bound, as you can see. And yeah, and for those wondering what mix I use the same mix. The same mix for my Anthurium is the same mix I use for all my other plants, whether you're an arid or a succulent. I use the same mix for all my plants. It's possible, it's doable, and I'm living proof of that. I have a YouTube video showing how I make the mix and the ingredients, and I'm going to link it in the description below. So go and binge that after you have watched this. But yeah, let's put her back. So let's go inside and explore what inside this corner. This babe here, this is my Mandula Puthos. I was inspired after seeing Sydney Plant Guys on to put mine on a poll, and so far so good. Grasshoppers, Nigerian grasshoppers tend to love this plant a lot for some strange reason. So she's been beaten, munched, almost chopped to pieces by grasshoppers. Look at some more grasshopper munchies, here, but she's still a beautiful specimen. Like I keep telling people, if you want to grow perfect plants, don't grow them outdoors because plants not only are they battling with the elements, they're also battling with the insects, they're also battling with neighbors and humans and all that stuff. But here, she's gorgeous, she's iconic, she's unproblematic. Love her, and I can't wait till she fills up this pool. Yeah. And of course, we cannot leave this corner without talking about one of my absolute favorite babies. Oh my goodness gracious. This is my aglaonemas Snow Queen or Snow White. I always confuse the name. But she's so gorgeous. She's so easy. She's so iconic. Please get into aglaonemas because they are easy, low light tolerant, drought tolerant. I mean, and when they become full like this, they literally are a showstopper. Like anyone that visits me, they always like take pictures of this plant. So she's gorgeous. I'm so proud of her, and I've had her for 4 years now, and I will always have her wherever I am. Like I will always take a part of this plant, even if I had to travel to Antarctica. I will always take a part of this plant with me. She's like my heirloom plant. So yeah, I love this babe. I love her. Then I have this Anthurium that has seen better days. This is an Anthurium fingers, if I'm not mistaken, and this is actually caused by over fertilization. So I use an organic fertilizer on her, and I also use a synthetic fertilizer. I literally mixed it, and I don't know what I was thinking, but it burnt some of the leaves. Thankfully, she is bouncing back gradually, and yeah, I kept her here because this one doesn't like highlight. She likes this medium light situation, and I can't wait to see how she grows and gets big. She sizes up too. She gets really big, and yeah, so looking forward to that. And of course, there's this interesting looking aglaonema. Aglaonema, I believe this is part of the Aglaonema Galaxy series. Look, you guys will probably guess that I love my aglaonemas and I can't get enough of them. So I mean, what's not to love about them? Look at this. Look at this, guys. Just look. Absolutely beautiful and mesmerizing. Oh, love it. I think we're done with this section of the garden. Now let's tackle this corner there, and we still have some plants at the backyard, guys. So buckle up because we still have way more plants to see. This video is gonna be so long to edit. Oh my god. I almost forgot to show you guys this, my Staghorn fern. And I don't know what's going on here. She has a bit of like a fungal. What is this? I don't know whether this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I don't know. But she has that going on with her leaf, and but she seems to be doing fine. This is a staghorn fern that is actually native to Nigeria. We see just growing on the back of certain trees here. She's sprouting out new growth, loves this rainy weather, and is a pain to keep this plant watered during the dry season. So I'm so glad it's the rainy season. Now this corner is like my succulent section because this part the rain doesn't get to it for the most part, and then it gets really sunny. By the way, my garden is actually west facing. So it's a miracle that these plants haven't all burnt to death. I've really been careful selecting plants in this corner, succulents in this corner that can actually take the intense sun. So I have this gorgeous canna lily. When she flowers, she is beautiful. You can see what the sun did to her. You can see what the sun did to her, but when she's flowering, she's beautiful. She adds such a pop of color. And then I've got my ficus altissima. I love ficuses, guys. I love them and I love to grow them. They grow beautifully. Look at the color of this one. Oh, Jesus. If you want her to be a vivid color, you need to give her some direct sunlight. The brighter light you give them, the more colorful these guys tend to be. She's a bit of a slow grower, though. I've got my Sansevieria Moonshine. I've done a separate Sansevieria tour. So I'm not going to focus on the Sansevierias. I'm just going to skim through them. And I also plan to do a separate succulent tour. So you guys will have a more in-depth, look at my succulent collection. But I'm just going to skim through some that I feel are worthy of notes. This Stepalia is always flowering, guys. It just finished producing 3 rather stinky flowers. It doesn't stink that bad except you come up close, but the flies absolutely love them. Let's just chop this off. You also notice a sizable number of desert roses in my collection because I actually love desert roses. We have a flourishing desert rose community in Nigeria. Also, OG desert roses. I'm not talking about the hybrids because there's so many hybrids, but the OG ones are actually native to Nigeria. That native range includes Nigeria. They produce beautiful flowers. They are heat and sun loving, which Nigeria has an abundance of. Some people grow them for their codex. I tend to grow them for their flowers and also their foliage. I have different types. This is one that I also got. The problem about shopping desert roses locally in this country is that you may not know exactly which one you're getting, except the flower. So this was sold to me as a yellow flowering one. I'm just hoping that that is actually what it is because it's going to be so ironic if it ends up being the same flower as this. Yeah. Moving on to this corner, I have my African milk tree here doing her thing. I love the silhouette she provides. I don't know what's going on here. This was the flower that I caught, but it looks like this is becoming a fruit. This was a flower that was spent, rather. Is this a fruit? Oh my god, that would be so dope. That would be so dope. And then I have this African milk tree that a particular moth loves to munch on. Thankfully, the breeding season of that moth has come to an end, and now my plant can be spared. The awesome thing I love about the Euphorbia genus is how diverse it can be. And you see a huge example of that here because this is an Euphorbia mealy hybrid, the one that has tiny, leaves and flowers. This is an Euphorbia, but this is also an Euphorbia as well. This is a highly variegated and version of the Euphorbia. Oh, I can't pronounce her name, babes. I'm going to insert the name in this video, but look at this. It has such a beautiful pop of color. And it also sun stresses beautifully as well. Oh God, I love Euphobias. And then we're not done. Look at more crown of thorn Euphobias. These guys, I wish I could collect even more varieties because they do so well in our Nigerian weather. They flower all year round, constantly. They can also take a bit of our rain. They can take our intense sun. What's not to love about them? Look at another one. So just look at this side by side. The beautiful side. So if you are growing your plant outdoors in a hot and tropical country like mine, please do not hesitate to add Euphobias to your collection. They will add such a pop of color, specifically this crown of thorn girlies. So yeah, now hidden beneath the Euphobias, I've got this interesting snake plant, Sansevieria francisca. Can never pronounce her name right. Yeah. Now I have even more succulents right underneath my room window. I don't even know where to begin. I'm going to have to give you guys a detailed succulent tour. So please watch out for that. But of course, I'm always going to mention my Euphorbia mealies. They are beautiful and I want to collect more. I love the fact that they're always flowering. Just look at the pop of color this guy adds. What else? I really love this arrangement that I did. My Opuntia seems to be really fast growing. This has doubled in size. Some of you may remember from my vlog video when I shopped for this plant. has doubled in size. So I'm really, really, I'm happy with this arrangement and this display. And for anyone wondering how I close my windows, if I decide to turn on my AC or it's raining, I just, as you can see, easy to close. I am a bit worried because these two seem to be growing. Again, the diversity of euphobias, guys. This is another euphorbia. I believe this is a crested type of euphorbia. And I was told that this is a slow growing plant, but she has grown quite fast. I got her when she was just like half of this size. And she has grown at least an inch or two in my care in the span of like maybe 2 months. So that's rather fast growing for a crested plant of any type. This is also another euphorbia. Unfortunately, she's not flowering, but she tends to flower like this. She produces small, cute, lovely flowers. And then, of course, going downwards, I have even more snake plants. Look at this calathea that died during the dry season and then suddenly sprouted out from this snake plant out of the blue. That's the interesting thing about this calathea. Sometimes it just sprout out of the blue. And then I like this babe. She doesn't get talked about enough or at all. This is a type of kalinkoe. I'm not sure what exact type of kalinkoe she is, but she's so yummy. And another thing I've noticed about her is that she loves to be watered regularly. She can actually take being underneath the rain. She doesn't mind. Beautiful. This I've been told produces beautiful red flowers. I can't wait till mine actually does that. Of course, we can't leave here without showcasing yet again my whale fin Sansevieria. Look at the material. Look at the material. And then one of my personal faves, guys, my ponytail palm. I love this babe, and her trunk, her cortex is really beginning to become more prominent. Beautiful. I've also got my bougainvillea, which adds a pop of color. Look at this. Pink is my favorite color, so anything that produces pink flowers or any pink looking plant, I gravitate towards it. Now, moving on to the backyard. So, this part is less curated, a bit rustic, a bit unorganized, and I really don't like to show her off. Also, like my least favorite part of the house. I don't like to spend a lot of time here. But anyways, I'm just going to show you some highlights and what I can. This is actually a hibiscus. This is like my last surviving hibiscus, guys. I once had a couple more, but I literally had to throw them away because they are extremely pest prone. Jesus. To both mealybugs, ants, to every single pest there is in the world just seems to love and gravitate towards them. But this one, I chopped her down to its stump and she has just branched out. And so far, she doesn't have mealybugs. I'm so thankful. So let's continue to observe because this has very beautiful flowers. The flowers are impeccable. And then here I've got my Philodendron Hosea. No, Pericivade. These guys are still really rare in Nigeria. And so I'm quite fortunate to actually get this one. They can be rare and expensive. I grew this from like, it was just this, 1, 2 leaves, and it wasn't even fully rooted, but it's a very easy plant to propagate, a very fast growing plant. Look at what grasshoppers did, guys. Look, grasshoppers are so annoying. And then I've got this Xanthosoma. This is not an easy plant. I'm still trying to figure out what this babe wants. And that's why I just dumped her in the backyard so she doesn't disgrace me. I keep slandering my Hoyas for good reason, but we do have a fair share of them that are still alive. Don't look exactly like the most impeccable specimens, but they're still hanging in there. I don't know what Hoya this is, but this was a gift as a cutting from my dear friend Rahila, and it seems to be doing well. This is also another one that she gifted me. This has really done quite well. I mean, yeah, I have to give credit where credit is due. Now, this is my Hoya Croyanus Splash, or I don't know, Lancifolia, whatever you guys call it. I don't try to catch up with the names or keep up with the names. And she has just latched onto the AC vent and just appears to be doing her thing. This AC vent is not connected, so she's fine. And then I've got my ficus, my rubber plant, guys. I'm gonna make a rubber plant care video, so please watch out for that. I want to show you guys how to grow your rubber plants to look like the iconic babes that they are supposed to look like. And then of course I've got my philodendron hashtatum. I absolutely love the fact that this plant is silver. It just mystifies me. It's so beautiful. I can't believe a plant like this actually exists in the wild. Like, amazing proof that God is an artist, in my opinion. This is the only alocasia that I have that is still alive. Barely hanging in there. This is my alocasia pink dragon, I believe. And at this point, I've given up on her. If she wants to be alive, let her be alive. If she wants to unalive, I don't care again. And then I've got this beautiful peperomia, obtusifolia. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Gorgeous. A plant that is often overlooked, out of fashion, but still iconic. I've got this Calisa rupens. This is a highly fast growing plant. Grows like a weed. I love this plant because it can take our full sun, our full crazy Nigerian sun. And she's also quite drought tolerant, easy to propagate. Absolutely love her. She doesn't like to trail though, so I'm gonna have to do something about her trailing now. Maybe move her to a rounder pot when that time comes. And this is my philodendron totem. These guys are so expensive in this my country. I grew this from a single leaf, but she's beautiful. I'm not really a big philodendron fan, but this one I actually absolutely appreciate. She looks so unique, has this palm-like feature. She's bringing out a new leaf. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Love it for her. This philodendron is a bit of a sad story. She used to be an impeccable specimen, but the Nigerian sun fried her to death. This is what I could salvage. Thankfully, I took a cutting and I rooted it in water. Thankfully, it made it. Now we just have to wait for her to bounce back now that it's rainy season. I've got some Hoyas here. This is one that I like, but doesn't seem to be doing anything for me. This is the Hoya Kerry, variegated Hoya Kerry. I've got my philodendron brandiatum here. I talked about this in one of my videos. This is one plant that I struggle with. I just recently moved her here, so hopefully now that it's rainy season, now that she's paired together with her homegirls to motivate her to grow. I've also got my Syngonium 3 Kings. I believe it's my favorite Syngonium. But the thing about Syngoniums is that as they mature, they lose their variegation. As you can see, this is gradually beginning to lose its variegation. But all you have to do is chop it back and then you've got your variegation back. Speaking of another plant that loses its variegation, my Ficus shivriana. This was used to be highly variegated. I got this as a small, it was so small and a pain for this plant to actually establish and grow. But thankfully, we have some progress. She's brought out this leaf. I cannot wait until she's as lush as her other rubber plant cousins. And then I want to show you this money tree, guys. Look, she's variegated. So she brings out like this variegation in her new leaves. It's a beautiful sight to behold when it is unfoiling, but unfortunately the variegation reverts to green. Not an easy one to stumble across, so I am lucky that I have it. Got this my beautiful aglaonema. I talked about her in my aglaonema tour video, and in that video I said the moment I bring her out, her variegation will be more pronounced, and her variegation is beautiful and pronounced. Then I've got this my philodendron squamiferum. Oh, this one I almost lost to the Nigerian sun. But thankfully she's back. She's healthier. She looks really sun-faded before, but her color is beginning to come back. Look at the size of one of the leaves she brought out from. Huge. This plant has a symbiotic relationship with ants. So typically you find ants around it, but I don't know what's going on. It produces nectar. The ants feed off the nectar and in turn protect it from pest. So yeah, I can't wait till she climbs up the pole. Another money tree. Look at gorgeous. I love this. Look at the size of this leaf. I like this one because I literally grew this one from a stump. I cut it and I'm proud that I grew it into this. And then I've got my Ficus ruby. I talked about how this plant is rare in this nation. I'm going to be propagating her in my next rubber plants video, so watch out for that. I'm going to show you an easy way to propagate rubber plants, like 100% success. So look out for that video. And this is my Dracena seculosa, and it does a fantastic job in providing shade. Even though this is a Dracena, it can take our crazy intense sun. I'm grateful for that because it does a great job in providing shade for some of these plants, particularly my painted lady that the Nigerian sun almost destroyed. The Nigerian sun literally fried this plant to almost fry this plant in all of its entirety. So I had to chop her off but now she has recovered. Thanks in part to this plant that provided shade. So I am not really the biggest fan. I think it looks rather basic, but I'm grateful that it's a good shade providing plant. So look at the leaf of this. Look at how, oh my goodness gracious. She's beautiful. Absolutely love her. Absolutely love. Oh my god. Now I've got my Ricra cactus. I talked about how this plant is also rare in my previous video, and I'm glad I actually have at least actually have this, and I'm growing it out into a full specimen. Now underneath here is my ginger, variegated ginger. This plant has a beautiful aroma when you cut the leaves or cut the stem. It smells so beautiful, it smells so aromatic. Unfortunately, this does not like intense sun or direct sun, so I just had to keep her here. Even though it's such a shame because she's beautiful, I want to keep her in a place where she can feature prominently. But I have limited shaded space. And then I've got my philodendron sodroid. This plant has honestly been a pain. I just dumped her here and I'm hoping that she does her thing and she grows. Oh my god, guys, we're gonna have to wrap this tour up soon because it's about to rain. I've got this beautiful neon pothos. I just a beautiful specimen. Oh god, lovely, iconic. And then speaking of beautiful specimens, we cannot leave this tour without talking about, my sea blue that is climbing up. I think I'm gonna have to do something about this because I don't want it to extend all the way up to my neighbors. This can go really fast, especially in our climate. So I'm gonna have to either chop it up or like see how I can turn, have it grow here, like here, and then just grow around the door. And then I've got my Schefflera, often an overlooked plant, but absolutely love her. Very easy, can take our full intense sun. Love how bushy she gets. And then I've got my Epipremnum pinnatum variegata. I love his relationship with this plant. It grows so fast. It grows too fast and requires a lot of maintenance. Honestly, like it can become a weed. So guys, we've come to the end of this tour. I had to cut it short. It's about to rain heavily here again. But thank you guys for watching and I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you did. And I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Bye. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.